Welcome to South Wales. Today we're talking about why running is a terrible idea for weight loss. Stay tuned. So why do people run? Well, it's a question that's asked time and time again by sports scientists and psychologists alike. Now, most people say it's about getting fitter, a new challenge, a bit of competition, a bit of fun, being outside with people. Then you have the sports psychologists who look at the ultra runners, and they all say it's about being in a state of mind, the flow-like state of mind, which I can testify to, because that's why I've been out here today, and I do my run. I like getting to that state of mind. I love being at one here with kind of nature and being out in the countryside and trail running. I totally understand that. However, the sad and frightening thing is that time and time again, when the surveys come back, over 40% of people say they want to lose weight as the main reason for why they're starting and are taking up running. Now, the reason I find it sad is because people are missing out on the bigger picture, on the benefits of running, for their mental health, their overall well-being, general health, and also the sense of enjoyment. Running should be a fun and enjoyable experience for most people. However, it's not, because they go hard, go too fast. It's all about pain and suffering because it's all associated with losing weight sometimes. Now, it's frightening because most people don't understand. It shows a clear lack of understanding of how to actually lose weight over the long haul. Now, before I tell you why running is a terrible way to lose weight, I'll make one thing clear. I love running. I do it to get into the flow-like state. It makes up a big part of my training routine. Now, it wasn't always the case, because in my mid-20s, I was injured. I had issues with back pain, and also life and work got in the way, and I kind of fell into the wrong crowd who told me that running is bad for you, must never run. No, I'm not. So I'm not like that. I don't believe in that. I think running is really important for your mental health and well-being, and I love getting to that flow-like state. Now, what it did though, by not running, when I came back to running into my early 30s and mid-30s, I was a beginner again. I was a novice. So as someone who used to play sports and run all the time and sprint a lot as a kid, stopped running, and I came back as a complete beginner when I was a coach, when I was a personal trainer. And what it's done is given me a good balance and a good understanding and a good appreciation of what it's like to be a novice again when it comes to running. So I had to retrain myself up to become a runner and be able to run around the hills and the mountains like I do now again. So I think the whole experience of not being able to run and loving running and taking it for granted, to not being able to run and having to retrain myself back as a runner, stands me in good stead to talk about this from a neutral and non-biased standpoint. Now, I love lifting weights as well too, so I'm part of all the communities. I love sports, I love fitness in general, so I'm not someone who's part of the extremes of, like, runners say they should never do strength training, and then the guys who talk about the bro science and their strength gains and how they're going to lose their gains by running. I'm not like that, so I'm coming from a neutral standpoint, I think, and this experience stands me in good stead to help share with you my experience and what you can do instead to help you run better in the long term, and also to lose weight. So let me share with you the 3 reasons why I think running is a terrible way to lose weight. So, reason number 1, statistically, running is the most dangerous exercise that humans can perform. Yes, that you heard me right. That's what I just said. It's the most dangerous exercise humans can perform. Why do I say that? Well, studies show time and time again that 70% of all recreational and competitive runners are injured in a calendar year. That's a frightening statistic. It ranges from knee pain to hip and ongoing back pain to stress fractures to tendon ligament issues, rolling ankles, you name it, it happens time and time again. That's a frightening statistic. The issue is not jogging, okay? It's not the problem with jogging. Running and jogging is perfectly acceptable. The issue is that most people's bodies are not ready to handle the stresses that running puts them through. Now, in my humble opinion, the number 1 reason why people get injured when they first start is because they're not ready to run. Their bodies are not physically capable to withstand the forces that are going to go through it. Now, think about this. Every step that you take, and every step you take when you run, it's up to 3 times your body weight of force going through your body. And when you sprint, that can go up to 5.5 times. That's an incredible amount of force that goes through your body, and your body simply isn't ready enough to handle it. Just think about that. It's why I think the reason most people get injured is because it's just too strenuous, particularly for beginners. Now, I want you to imagine your body in terms of a car, and you're going to do a road trip from the East Coast to the West Coast of America, and a clapped out old banger of a car that's 30 years old and over 300,000 miles. It's got rust in every corner, it bellows out smoke every time you change gear, and it makes a big crunching noise. It has zero maintenance history as well. What are the chances of you making it across that country, across from the East Coast to West Coast successfully? Or at least maybe breaking down once or twice? Pretty high, right? Well, think of this in terms of people over 30 who start running for the very first time. They're taking a clapped out old body that has zero maintenance and zero history of health checks or anything at all when it comes to fitness and well-being, and they're putting a bit of sticky tape over it and hoping it's going to hold up for the mileage that they're going to do. And that's exactly the same thing as that car going East Coast to West Coast. It's a car crash waiting to happen, and it's what happens with most people's bodies. They may get injured, they may not get injured, but at some point the likelihood is it's going to be pretty high. So how do we know if somebody is actually ready to run? Well, it's a bit of a complex and loaded question, to be honest with you. Ideally you want to see somebody in person and see the bigger picture and how they're moving and how their joints are, and all these type of tests that we can do in person. But there's one litmus test that we use time and time again. It's a great snapshot and a great indicator to give us an idea if someone's ready to run based on the forces they can absorb every step that they take, and that's the waist to height ratio test. That is, you're going to take your waist, divide it by your height, and if it's over half, or 0.5 for example, so you take your waist, divide it by your height in inches or centimeters depending on what you want to do, and if it's over half, over 0.5, you're not ready to run. The reason that is because it's a good marker to say that you're overweight, and those forces, those three times body weight force you can absorb, is going to be that much greater and going to cause that much more stress on the body, and it's more likely for your body to break down. Now, please, don't think I'm trying to stop anybody from running in the long term. I don't want them to. I want them to run. I want them to enjoy running. What I'm saying is we've got to think about the ligaments and tendons and the bones and the stresses on the body and build the body up slowly to get them ready to run, and so that they're going to enjoy it. This is where walking comes in. Most people who start running for the very first time have never walked a kilometre, let alone run it, and when they try and jump on the couch to 5k bandwagon, they haven't walked 5k, let alone run it. So you got to think about the bigger picture. Get people walking, get people used to the stresses of walking for volume first, get them to lose a little bit of weight in other ways first, and develop the tolerance that the body has whilst building up a strong aerobic capacity to help people run and enjoy the running, because that's the key thing. Because most people start running and they haven't got good aerobic capacity, which means it's gonna suck, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna be painful on the lungs, and no one wants to do anything that sucks, right? What if we built them up through walking first, or doing other modalities of cardiovascular fitness, which gives them a better aerobic capacity, allows them to recover better, so when they start running for the first time, they're going to have a bigger smile on their face, and it's not going to be quite so difficult. Whereas if you jump in 2 feet and start doing it straight away, it just hurts, and that's what most people do. When was the last time we saw people enjoying themselves, right, running? Not hardly ever. Look, I know this is going to be a hard pill for most people to swallow, because I know they want to see running as a way to losing weight and going out with their friends or doing something like that. But the expression walk before you can run is very, very important and key to this whole process. I want you to be running for the long haul, for a long time in life, injury-free, and having a strong, robust body, and for you to enjoy it. So if your waist is over 0.5, over half your height, then we've got issues, and I'd say we address the weight loss issues first and fat loss in other ways before we do anything else and before we look at running. All right, before anything else, it's coffee time. That's better. That's a lot better. I needed that. All right, let's continue. So I'm taking a bit of a detour at the moment around the back of the Brecon Beacons, actually, around the back of Pen y Fan, the famous Pen y Fan, which I actually prefer coming up, running and hiking around, to be honest. We're going past Talabontask Reservoir, which is a pretty beautiful spot as well. But yeah, no, I had to take a little bit of a detour because of a few road closures, just for whatever reason, roadworks or something back in the way. So I'm quite happy with that. I quite enjoy driving. Plus it gives you a chance to see the scenery with me, so enjoy. So let's talk about the second reason why I think running is a terrible idea for weight loss, and it's all to do with the running experience. So I want to set you a bit of a challenge. When was the last time you saw a recreational runner enjoying themselves? Think about it. When you look around the parks, when people are out for their daily or their weekly jog, look at their face and how anguished they are and the stress that's going through it. You see it time and time again. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that most recreational runners are not strong enough, mobile enough, or fit enough to go for a run. They try and push through the pain barrier at every given moment, every given opportunity, and it puts too much stress on the body. They're going at an intensity that's far beyond their body's capabilities. Like I said before, running should be an enjoyable experience. People should be enjoying it, not hating every single step that they take. And that's the issue I see time and time again. People pushing through at an intensity that far exceeds their capabilities, which inevitably puts more stress on the body, is more likely to cause injury. But more importantly, when it comes to weight loss, stress is not your friend. Stress you need to minimize at the best of times to help you lose weight. You see, the brain has one function, and that's to keep you alive and stop if there's too much stress anywhere in the body to prevent injury from happening. And also, fat loss is also a defense mechanism in the world of fat loss. Now, the other thing, and the key point here, is running should be about a lifetime of adventures. You should have the steam train's coming back. You should have a lifetime of adventures doing it. It should be experienced as a pleasurable event almost. Go around, travel the world, get into the countryside, do whatever you want with. But if you associate pain and stress with running, you're always going to associate that. And that's negative connotations that I don't want to have or see at any time during someone's running experience. Now, one of the most common goals we see at Strength Matters is I'd like to run my first 5K, and that's a great goal to have. The problem is that most people have never walked 5K, let alone ran it. So they're jumping in too fast, too soon to any form of running program, particularly when they haven't got enough experience behind them. So the first thing we need to do is get people walking more to that distance to build up the stress on their tendons, their ligaments, and their bones. So when we start and introduce running, they'll be able to cope with it. And that's really important. Now, the second thing as well is cardio is hard. It's bloody hard, particularly as a beginner. If you jump into running straight away, it's almost too much for a beginner to get involved with straight away. There are better ways and means to build up your aerobic capacity to begin with. Now, if it's too hard for somebody, people are always going to associate cardio with being hard. That's why so many people hate doing cardio. It's because it's hard. You know, let's put it bluntly there. People find it too hard, so they try and find excuses not to do it. Let's take it back a couple of steps. Let's focus on building it up slowly. So when you start to run, it's actually easier than you think, not harder if you jump in too fast too soon. So building up your walking capacity first is key to building up a starting point to enable you to run. And that's so important. It's all about the running experience for me and why I think it's such a terrible idea for weight loss. I want people to have a lifetime of adventures, enjoy themselves running, and not associate it with pain, misery, and suffering that most people do on a recreational basis. Now, this leads us on nicely to issue number 3 and the reason why you're not losing weight when it comes to running. Now, the benefits of running are real. There are thousands of people who've lost weight by running. However, when you look at the evidence doesn't tell you, it doesn't show that you can lose weight just by increasing your running. It's more complex than that. Time and time again in highly controlled studies, it's all about being in a calorie deficit. If you only increase your energy expenditure, i.e. running in this case, results are modest at best. You need to be in a calorie deficit and you need to make lifestyle changes. Just think about all the people that you know have seen who've trained for a marathon and have never lost a single pound. Just think about, maybe you've experienced it yourself, or maybe you've increased your energy expenditure or you exercise throughout the week and not seen any results on the scales. All that is why it's so complex. What we do know is that successful people time and time again to lose weight, they weigh themselves once a week, they eat in a calorie deficit, and they exercise, which includes strength training, as part of that plan to get them to where they want to get to. And that's important. You need to focus on the bigger picture. You know, there are ways to lose weight through strength training and having cardio. If you're ready to run, great, but if not, there are other means to get you fitter and ready and more stable to be able to handle the rigor and the stresses of running itself. So as a rule of thumb, I'm going to think about running as a great tool for your health and well-being, but terrible for weight loss. Now, if you want to use running as part of an overall program, which includes strength training, mobility, and nutrition, then wonderful if you're fit and ready to do it. But as a standalone tool, it's better used for just weight maintenance and not weight loss. Just think about it. I'm not saying I don't want you to run. I want you to run in the long term and keep going. However, for weight loss by itself, it's a terrible solution for so many different reasons. And I'll link to a blog down below which you can understand more about them. So there you have it. Those are my 3 reasons why I think running for weight loss is a terrible idea. 1, you're likely to get injured if you're new and starting out. 2, I want you to enjoy the running experience. And 3, there are better ways out there to lose weight as part of a controlled program and a bigger picture. So again, think about running for health and well-being, but not necessarily for weight loss unless it's part of a bigger picture. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there who will disagree with me and they'll say, no, James, you are wrong. And that's okay. You can disagree with me as much as you want to. I'm just sharing my experience and what I've seen over the years, because I love running. I want people to run as much as possible, particularly trail running, being in the mountains. It's a wonderful experience. I just want you to do it for the long haul. I want you to think in the bigger picture, the bigger terms, and don't just focus on the short term. Because cardio at the start is hard. We can do easy ways to build up your base and get you to where you want to get to, and it doesn't involve running. So when we introduce you to running, you will fall in love with it. There you go, that's my 2 pence. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. What do you think? Do you disagree? Do you think it's a good idea? I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you'd love this video, well, please like, subscribe, and leave us a review as well somewhere. I'd really appreciate that. Anyway, until next time, I'll see you in the next video.